Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. All right, so I am seeing two Five of Pentacles in my mind, and I'm seeing them kind of at opposite poles from one another. And I feel like this message actually is very consequential for those of you that are resonating with this. I feel like there's been something on your mind where it feels lacking. I'm hearing the word looming. It could just kind of be looming. And now I'm seeing the Four of Pentacles in my mind. In one of my decks, it's this woman who is kind of clutching her purse, close to her chest. I feel like there may be some like worry of money issues in some way, like being lacking, not having enough money to do something that you're like planning on doing, or not having enough money to be independent or to go independent in some way. Money could be like an issue here, but there's definitely like some kind of worry about lack. And they're showing me like that's this first Five of Pentacles that I'm seeing, this like first moment in time. And I do feel like that's now, or it's like kind of like fast approaching where this kind of needs to be confronted. And then I'm looking at a Judgment card here. It says, I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. And I feel like you're on your own unique path and challenge. And I'm literally seeing this being a bump in the road. So, and it's something that I feel is meant to align you. I just heard with better fortune, but it's meant to align you with your true path, or because, and that's where the other Five of Pentacles comes in with this, because as we know, the Five of Pentacles can mean, being left out in the cold, having that kind of lacking energy. To me, also, I always think about the snow in the Five of Pentacles, because the snow kind of hides what's under the ground. And I feel like there is something here, and it's earthy, about like the landscape. So maybe you feel like you don't know the lay of the land, beneath the snow, and what you're actually dealing with, what you're actually working with here. That's something here too. I always get this kind of, maybe not an outright secrecy energy, but it's just like you can't see it. And with the snow, that's like a seasonal energy. So it could be like this season of life, or it could literally be the seasons, like when the seasons change is what I'm getting. Like the landscape might look a little different. But I do feel that there's something about like this season of life. Like one season is kind of closing and another season is opening up. And I feel like that is this Five of Pentacles energy that I'm seeing in the future. And actually Five of Pentacles can be like a sanctuary energy. And so I feel like there's something here where you're acknowledging or like bumping up against some kind of lack energy in whatever this season of life has been. And it might well have to do with like money or financial or restriction. And there could be some kind of, maybe this was like a traditional path, or there's something to do with like tradition or religion or something. Doesn't have to, it could have to do with money, I'm getting for a lot of you, but I feel like this is meant to align you with your actual sanctuary energy. And this is where it's kind of flashing me into, I watched this interesting like documentary kind of thing, and it was about this man, and he was very much like a hermit kind of archetype, and it was back in like the 1800s, and he lived in, I can't remember the name of the mountains. I don't think it was the Sierra Nevadas. I think it's like behind the Sierra Nevadas. I'm not entirely sure, but it's around there. But it's this desolate kind of mountain range, and it was always known for being desolate. And this man called him the beekeeper. This man that was like living up in the mountains, he was called the beekeeper. And there was a lot of mining up there, like in the 1800s. But after the mining, it was just a completely like desolate, almost like deserty region. So that's not like there was a lot of lush greenery, or, water was extremely scarce. And he stayed in these kind of mines as shelter. And this guy was going through them, and you could still see like this man's old shoes and old newspapers from back in the day. He always like had a potbelly stove everywhere that he went. And so he had several places that as he would kind of work his way up to, I don't know if it was his main residence, but the main residence, to get there was crazy. And it was just this Five of Pentacles kind of journey, but you had to go way, way up in elevation to the point where it was like almost vertical and very little water, and then you had to cascade down quite a ways into this canyon, but it was like very lush there. But the whole way up, this guy kept asking, why would this man live here? I don't understand. Like, what was he running from? What he kept being very curious about, like this guy's psychology and why he would. And when he got to the final destination, he was like, okay, I kind of get it now. It was that sort of vibe. Like, okay, it is like very beautiful here. Plus there was water there. So he had water, and he was clearly trapping game. So he did kind of have this lush cornucopia all to himself. And then he could kind of see the appeal of it. But honestly, like even getting down was kind of crazy. He had to cascade down ropes and stuff. And he kept coming back to this question of, I don't understand that. And that's where, again, I flashed to this like Five of Pentacles. It's like one person's desolate is another person's sanctuary. Or, Five of Pentacles, again, like maybe I don't know, because I feel like this covers a lot of different situations, but it's like maybe that guy didn't feel comfortable in like normal everyday society. Maybe he was just like in some way an outcast for like that time. He didn't feel like he fit in or something, but it like connected him with his own sanctuary. So, and he did say, this man in the documentary, he said, well, I think this has been a very difficult journey for me and I would not recommend it to anyone. But I think that I've learned that every human life is like valid and we all seek meaning and we all seek purpose. And I can't quite understand this man's purpose and like why he would like this, but he liked it and it's not exactly like the thing for me. It was something here like that. And, but yeah, I just was kind of thinking, well, maybe he was uncomfortable, in like the traditional society and he felt like he was an outcast. Maybe he did something where he was outcasted. That was kind of the thing that he said. Maybe he was running from something, but whatever it was, that like Five of Pentacles kind of, I think this is something similar, not to that. I'm not saying you're going to live in a mine and like, up in the mountains alone. But I feel like this is an experience maybe of lack or it's going to maybe come about that way. It's having you confront something here. And I think it is connected to the Pentacles realm, whatever this is. Like it might be money. It might be to do with like an apartment or like your home and you're like, well, I don't know if I have enough money to stay here. Or it could very much affect Pentacles. Also, it could be like maybe physical health. And that confronting that is going to kind of, Spirit is saying something like it's finding the true sanctuary or something. And I feel like it's this experience of lack that is kind of getting you to snap back into some type of an alignment or find the true sanctuary or something. I think it might require honesty, some kind of like honesty with yourself. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So, and that honesty might have to do with trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. But I think if your inner voice is going to guide you correctly, then there's a mixture of this judgment and honesty energy that maybe something is like lacking or it's not for you or it's maybe at the cost of your stability or your, I just heard the word expediency. So I think maybe some of you are waiting for something to be expedient or maybe, I don't know. Take that however it resonates. So the next thing is we've got empathy. I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. I think that's it. Like these two Five of Pentacles, it's like I'm open to seeing both sides like of the Five of Pentacles. And I hate to sound so, because I can tell it's this Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles is not an easy energy to deal with, but it's kind of that energy of like, well, when one door closes, another door opens. And I'm also hearing like necessity is the mother of invention. And I just feel like something here, you wouldn't have made a certain decision or you wouldn't have pulled the ripcord on something is what I'm hearing. Unless you were in this position of lack where you had to kind of confront like, there's nothing here for me, or like there's no fruits in this for me. Or maybe the seeds that you planted haven't come up or people don't get it. Like that's the other thing is, because like with the Five of Pentacles, usually there's like a church, and the church is kind of representative of like maybe like community, but like the traditional thing. And it's kind of being flung out of that, of like, well, that's not mainstream or that's not, or I don't understand that. And so there could be some element of like, maybe, having to go down some kind of path in life that you wouldn't have gone down otherwise. That's maybe a non-traditional path for you or like that people around you don't get or something. But I feel like it's leading you to a sanctuary and that sanctuary might be surprising. It might be genuinely surprising and it's not meant to hurt you is what I'm getting. Whatever this let me just put that to the side because I almost said Five of Cups. Okay, interesting. Because I'm getting, two fives are, it can mean like unexpected experiences due to the influence of others. And, Five of Cups is about loss and it's about like grief. And also for me, it's Mars and Scorpio energy, which can be kind of a maneuvering. And you might even feel like somebody maybe has been maneuvering here or that there is some kind of strategy, but it's hidden from you. Maybe that's because I am kind of seeing that under the Five of Pentacles. Remember I said with the snow, you can't really see the lay of the landscape. So you could feel like a Mars energy, which is like maybe a competitor or Mars is men or, it's also a warlike energy. It's it's blood. Like, I don't know. It could be that you feel somebody set something like against you or something. I'm not so much getting that, but even if they're doing it, I just heard they're doing the Lord's work, because it's severing you from something that you're not supposed to be doing, and it's putting you towards something that you are supposed to be doing. And like I said, I feel like it's sanctuary, and I feel like there's a replenishment. I'm not necessarily, they are saying we're aligning you with better fortune, but I'm not getting like Jupiter kind of fortune of like, oh my gosh, and all of a sudden everything's going to turn around and it's going to start expanding. This feels like, because I'm seeing somebody with like an IV drip in their arm, where it feels like you're getting replenished in certain nutrients. And it may, for some of you, this could be, might be significant, because I just said may, but it could be, I'm just getting like with the dirt and like the makeup of the soil, like the mineral content of the soil, you know, like, because the water will run through that. Like it's like you get transplanted to a place where the mineral in the soil is like better for you and it's replenishing. And this is a metaphor, right? But it could involve some kind of move or some kind of leap of faith. And it could involve some kind of wandering in like the hermit energy, because I'm seeing that, you know, usually there's like people kind of stumbling around outside the Five of Pentacles, and it might very much feel that way. But I do feel Spirit's trying to give you like the higher cup, but it's via some kind of painful energy, and you might be split on it. You might be split on it. And I feel like with this judgment energy, to me, judgment is always like an unearthing kind of energy. And it may be unearthing of some kind of power dynamic, and that could be internally or externally. I feel like you might need to be honest about something, that you've been going along with something that may involve a power dynamic that doesn't sit right with you. And maybe you've been trusting it. And yeah. Well, I didn't even get to the last couple cards up here. So after trust, we've got patience. So I feel like this is saying trust, patience. I accept that everything happens in divine order. And I know everybody hates divine order. Not that they hate divine order. It's just, it can be hard to kind of see straight. And that's where I feel like it might come via a stumbly kind of period. Stumbling around in the snow. Again, not being able to really see what's laying under the snow. If you're going to step on a rake or something and like have it come up and smack you right in the face or like whatever, you know? So I feel like it comes via this like painful ending. You might be split on it. And also it might, I just heard, cause tongues to wag. Like maybe everybody will have an opinion about this or something, but I feel like God has a plan. I'm literally getting that Spirit has a plan. And I do feel like there is kind of a protection energy. And it might be you being protected from seeing some kind of truth about maybe how precarious something really was, or like that you were, that maybe even that somebody, again, had a plan. I'm seeing this like King of Wands kind of figure. So it could be that somebody here did have a plan, and whoever that was, I don't think had your best interest. Not for everybody is there like that person there, but something may have also ended you up alone, in not like in a hermit alone, but like not having any advocates or something. I don't know. But you're being maneuvered, and it's towards whatever this is you're being maneuvered towards. Have patience with it, because it's positive. It leads to your independence and happiness and fulfillment. But I feel like you've got to leave some kind of Garden of Eden energy. And I feel like that's the judgment energy. So, and that Garden of Eden, if you've listened to my channel, you know, the Garden of Eden, of course, is lush and it's beautiful. It's Taurus energy. It's luxurious. Like there's a lot of wonderful, positive things about that energy. But if it's not your own Garden of Eden, and I feel like that's maybe where the independence energy is. If it doesn't feel like home to you, it feels like, again, there's like weird power dynamic-y stuff, and it feels like maybe that's being unearthed. But I feel like maybe you didn't even know. I feel like maybe this has been kept from you, like some part of it. You might suspect certain things, but I don't know. And you're being like maneuvered around. And then we've got the Death card actually, and it says, I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings. And I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. So I feel like Spirit is saying this Five of Pentacles energy that's going to feel like a lack. It might feel like getting thrown out of somewhere. It might feel like you don't know the lay of the land. It might feel like you're leaving some kind of energy where there was a lot going on. There was like maybe a lot of resource. It could be actually money. It could be love. It could be that you had a group of people here. But I'm seeing the Eight of Cups here. And in this card, the Eight of Cups that I'm looking at, it's this like swamp-like energy. So, I feel like there's an undercurrent here that you didn't quite know about, and you're moving up and like out of that. It's very like Lady of the Lake, you know, where you're just kind of getting out of that. And I don't like scary movies. So I'm thinking of like 2 or 3 movies where it was like, it's got this like Lady of the Lake kind of vibe, where it's kind of like Arthur's sword was thrown in the lake, and there's this lady in there, and she's like maybe a ghost, or maybe she was never human. I'm not really sure, because like I said, I don't watch movies like that because I get too like creeped out, but it feels like that. Like if the Lady of the Lake maybe finished her job of guarding like Arthur's sword or something. And as a metaphor, whatever that means. And she was like, I'm leaving this lake, and, you know, like packed her stuff and went off into the sunset. 'Cause that's what I'm seeing you do. But it does feel like maybe there's a time period where you're like, I don't know where I'm going. I just feel something is like pulling me forward, or I'm trusting my inner voice. But in order to trust that inner voice, I've got to be honest that there is a painful energy here. And maybe it's that there's been like double speak. Or maybe it's like, maybe you are asking your friends or like people around you for advice, and you're getting two different answers. And it's not necessarily that one person is right and the other is wrong. It's like one can see one side and the other can see the other side. And so it doesn't really help you narrow out your choice though. And I think it's to cause you to go within and to trust yourself and to trust spirit. This is, I think, meant to get you in alignment with spirit. And I think there will be a time, and it feels like in the future, where things are going to have played out here, and you're going to be like, that is what saved me. I honestly think you're going to be like, that is what did it? I was so scared, and part of it is because we live in like linear time, you know, and so you can't really see where things are going. We have to live it, and that living of it and experiencing all the different emotions and having to go through the confusion and the uncertainty, somehow, some way, that ends up being the thing that like changes and challenges us, and where we get tumbled around and our edges kind of smoothed out. I feel like that is this kind of experience. I'm hearing, don't be afraid of it. Trust it. Lean into it. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. And it has very much to do with independence. I feel like Knight of Pentacles is emerging here, because I do feel like there was something where you had to be kind of defensive, you know, but you're like, I think you might have to be disciplined or like restricted here at first. You might feel flung out. I'm kind of getting that. You might feel flung out of a place that is yours, or you thought was yours, or you felt it was yours. But there's something moving under it, and it could be internally within you. There's, this is like shadow work where it's like, and it could be Mars. Okay. So within you, that's important to keep in mind. Not for everybody is it going to be though. Although there could be some kind of inner and outer connection. Mars is like competitive and kind of selfish, and it could be angling after some kind of power. That could have been moving underneath you, approaching whatever you thought, or like staying in a place that you thought was yours. Maybe you didn't see that, and it's a corruptive force, because I'm kind of getting, you know, in Dune, like the movie, it's a book too, Dune, and they have those big sand worms that are under the earth. Well, if something that big is like tunneling under the earth, I just imagine that it degrades the like the what would you call it? The structural like stability of like the ground. You know, wouldn't that make you a bit nervous to like build anything, because you don't know where there's a giant tunnel underneath you that, you know, with too much weight it's just going to collapse, you know, the entire size of a worm, like down. You're just trying to enjoy your morning coffee, and you just get, you know, I feel like there's something like that where the rug would be pulled out and you don't necessarily know it, but I'm hearing trust us. Oh, I just got goosebumps. This feels motivated by love. It feels motivated by love. And I mean, God love, spiritual love, like your spirit team love. Trust us. I just heard trust us, love, trust us, love. And it's the Knight of Pentacles. And I feel like you are asked to kind of put one foot in front of the other. And it does feel like maybe there's a gravity or there's a pull to a certain place with like people, places and things, conversations. There's a pull, and it does feel maybe routined or patterned, or again, I'm seeing that like church, that sanctuary energy of like, you know, back in the day, you didn't want to be excommunicated from the church because it basically meant being excommunicated from the community. And I feel like there's something that maybe functions like this. It's like cultural or something. Maybe you have to go against your culture or like go to a different place where you can kind of see. I think what's going to happen is they're going to get you away from something that you didn't fully understand, but there was some type of codependence. It doesn't necessarily feel like a person. It feels like, even if it is a person, it feels like more than a person. It feels like an entire group of people or something here. And the ground, it wasn't as stable as you think, is what I'm hearing. It's not as stable as you think. And it was affecting you, or it was going to affect you in the future. And I feel like you have, through this period of judgment where things are getting unearthed, and you're being honest when you see these things, you're calling balls and strikes just the way that you see them, right up the middle. And you're not allowing your mind to be, to have an agenda or to have a preference, you know, because I think it would be easier to stay somewhere or to keep doing what you were always doing or something. Because it feels like there's a gravity you got to break out of. And it does feel like it involves a group of people that you like are around every single day. And there's certain kind of conversations or something here. But, but you're getting up out of that. And I feel like there's kind of, swampy energy. So maybe these people are like motivated by shame, or you are one of the two there. But I feel like, yeah, you're getting up and you're going to a place that's like independent and you can't really see. And just because you can't see and just because you're confused and just because things aren't as easy, and sometimes our human brains, like when things feel easy and we understand them, we think that means that they're correct. And this is why I feel tarot is so powerful, because you're getting in touch with your intuition. And to get in touch with your intuition, you have to know what it isn't. And what it isn't is it's not confirmation bias, and it's not you feeling comfortable. A lot of times our intuition will say, leap now. It's the time to leave your comfort zone. And that's kind of the difference with someone who's really good with their intuition, is they know that the comfortability and the patterning and stuff that they're used to, their neural grooves, is not always the same thing as their intuition. Yeah. And I feel like there was some kind of like, maybe again, something that kept you split, and it has to do with this energy that I'm seeing running underneath. It is like a shadow energy. But you're going to be fine is what I want to say. You are going to be fine. And I think that you are open to seeing both sides of a situation. And I think that you are moving through blockages, but you are moving through them. Okay. So, a lot of times that's another mistake, fatal flaw I just heard that you hear in the spiritual community, where they refuse to actually let you feel your full feelings of anger, resentment, grief, trauma, because, well, you're not being peaceful enough. Don't you know that you're supposed to move through your blockages of love, but nobody knows how to move through the blockages of love. I tend to find that like the therapy side of things, the people who understand psychology, they're actually the navigators of that. They understand the actual step 1, step 2, that Knight of Pentacles energy, step 1, step 2, of actually allowing yourself to process through your actual emotions and not judging you of where you're supposed to be at the end, and not holding any space for you to feel the way that you feel and actually like kind of process through it. And I'm going to keep saying that on my channel, because I feel like that's the one thing that really hurt me about growing up in the Christian church, is I was never allowed that. And I just hope that the spiritual community can be a better place where we can all, allow somebody to have their full experience. It doesn't mean they can have it all over you, or that they get to say how you are supposed to feel, because sometimes that's really intense. But just saying like, well, yeah, all emotions are valid, and there is a place for you to go, even if it's not here, that kind of thing. So, all right, I think I'm going to leave that there. I think, again, whoever this message is for, I think this is like something on your mind already, or I definitely think it's on your mind. Or you feel it in your intuition. If it's not like on your mind, you just kind of feel this, like, I'm kind of feeling like the sense of going over a waterfall or something, like you sense that that's coming. Looming. The word is like looming. Something is like looming. So I feel it's asking you to get honest with yourself that there is this kind of waterfall energy that you sense, and you're sensing it not to get scared, but to get prepared. I just heard, forewarned is forearmed or something. Yeah. Forewarned is forearmed. So you're seeing it ahead, and it's not to scare you. And it's not, I just feel like they're saying, exit the river, like drag your canoe over to the side and maybe walk down the side of the mountain. If you don't want to fling off the waterfall, you're going down either way. Let's do the way that's best for you, kind of a thing, to kind of keep you on your boat. But they don't want you to be scared or intimidated. And this is a good practice. I just heard okay, they said, we've been giving you messages to meditate. I remember that coming through strongly, like maybe 6 months ago or something. And they were saying, this is the kind of thing where meditation is like helping to bring you back to a state of calm, even in the face of like uncertainty. And now would be a good time to apply that, just to kind of, help you go over the waterfall or whatever this is. And because it's the water that's falling, right? Emotions. And again, it's that judgment energy, things being, because now I'm seeing things floating in the water over the waterfall, like gadgets, and kind of remnants of a life or something. It doesn't necessarily come from you, but I'm seeing these things that have been unearthed. But just to kind of breathe through it, I just heard, this too shall pass. Trouble doesn't last always. And this will end up being a blessing in the end. And you will thank me. I just heard you will thank me. And I don't know who said that, your spirit guide or something, but they're saying, I am navigating you away from this. You will thank me in the end. So this is a good thing, actually. And just keep moving forward, I guess, here. There is a sanctuary. There is some kind of beautiful horizon, and it's healing. And it might have to do with like a new philosophy. It's leading to your independence here in some way. And yeah, it's healing. Whatever it is, it's like bright, and it's going to help you see something. But I think they're trying not to disturb you when you're too close to it. So they want you to get away from like whatever this is. This feels like really entrenched in your energy. It's kind of that scorpionic energy of like, maybe something here was traumatic and it was abusive. There's power dynamic-y stuff that's running underneath this. And there's something in the water is what I want to say. And they're leading you up out of the water. They're going to get you away from whatever it is so that then it becomes clear and they can shine the full light on it. And you're going to trust spirit. You're going to absolutely know for a damn fact that you have never been alone. It's there's that footprints quote in the Bible. When you looked back and saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. Oh, I just got goosebumps. That used to be in my Bible holder, said that. When you looked back and saw only one set of footprints, meaning when you thought that you were alone, I was with you. And I'm getting that vibe here. You needed to navigate and be alone for a second. You're not going to be alone always. And I heard trouble doesn't last always. But it was then that I carried you. Oh my gosh. I feel that some of you are headed towards some kind of major, it's like connecting all of the dots. That's why that needed to happen. That's why that needed to happen. But they didn't want to trouble your mind with like what was in that water, kind of a thing. Like it's not good. It's Mars. It's like an enemy. It's a competitor. It's something that was out for blood or something. It just, or like towards you, it feels like, but they kind of, I think whatever was doing that or whoever was doing that had to keep themselves hidden. They had to keep you under the guise of this is love or this is friendship or this is whatever, but it feels very two-faced. It feels very split. And I think once you're away from it, I think that they're going to shine a big light on it and they can be more honest with you because you're away from it and you can be like, oh my God. It feels like this kind of like shock moment of like, oh my God, but you're getting away from it and you're freeing yourself. The ties that bind is what I'm hearing. This feels like a huge, huge karmic win. So just stay the course, be brave, trust in yourself. I feel like also wherever this was, because it feels like you were there for a long time and there's a lot of emotions that are, in there, but also not the real ones. This feels like, again, you're not allowed to feel your real emotions. And I think it takes a lot to kind of get away from this, but I think that you're ready. And I think that, this actually feels positive. So anyways, I'm going to leave that there. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye guys.